Hi, it's Alana. I'm trying to go live on time, and I hope that works. We're back here again at Treehouse Humane Society. Well, no, we're at my house, but for Treehouse Humane Society. And we have once again one of our favorite guests, Daniel DQ Quagliozzi. Daniel, welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
It must be Friday. I'm in my room
Friday.
too.
Yeah, it's Friday, and you're back. Thanks for coming back.
No problem. I'm back by popular demand.
And this is where people can find you. You are a behavior specialist. What do you like to say?
I like to call myself a cat behavior consultant. I just feel like calling yourself an expert is like, I don't know, it sounds like really egotistical. But are we experts on anything? I don't know. I'm a consultant. So essentially what I do is I used to make house calls to work with people in their homes and troubleshoot cat behavior problems in their homes. Now I am a video consultant, so I am doing my cat behavior consulting and advice giving, same way you and I are talking. And I don't know, I actually kind of like it because it's a lot more comfortable. I don't have to leave my house. But there's some downsides to it because I don't actually get to feel the energy in your home and see. There's a lot more accuracy in troubleshooting an issue when you're there in the environment than when you're talking to people on video. It requires me to see a lot of video in advance.
See, and you can't really get down and smell the litter box, see if there's a problem.
No, seriously, I'll walk in a house and I'll be like, whoa, I can smell pee as soon as I walk in, and maybe they can't because they live in it with it, and I've got to break out my trusty. I got one right here. Hold on. We bend over.
I'm excited to see what this is. A cat pee detector?
Yeah.
Thought that was just your nose.
I know. It's not.
The UV light. Right.
The UV light, yeah. So this is a black light. It's a $30 black light I bought on the internet. But I'll take that with me because sometimes when cats have spraying issues that you get immune to the smells, and if it's not like big puddles that you can't see, one of these handy blue lights, purple lights, will turn your house into an instant disco. So if I walk in there and it looks like Studio 54, we have a problem.
You're like a detective.
I know, I'm like CSI for cat pee.
Do you feel cool when you have to pull that out?
People like it. Well, I mean, like,
like oh no.
I call it the truth light. Like, all right, well, let's see what's really going on. There was this one time I was in this guy's man cave, right? And it's like the quintessential man cave. It was like the guy's basement sports altar to sports, essentially. Like it was like wall-to-wall memorabilia. But it was also wall-to-wall white carpeting. And he had a Sphinx, a hairless cat, who was just having a good old time peeing around, every corner, every place where you couldn't find this cat. So I went down there with this thing and I was like, holy smokes, you got an issue going on. So people are halfway excited that I'm going to break out the light, and then also repulsed by what I find.
I'd be like, don't bring that out, please.
Don't bring it to a hotel or any place where you are worried about humans touching things. It's gross.
Gross. Well, on that note, we do have our very first question that has come in. Would you like to hear it?
I would.
Here it is. Kate asks, can you please give advice on the interactions between cats that started hissing and snorting at each other?
Yeah. It's kind of like when you ask a question, I've got to ask 5 more questions. So
detective. That's detective work.
Yeah. So maybe as I'm talking about I'm going to talk about a boilerplate situation where cats are hissing and growling, and if it doesn't fall into what you're experiencing, elaborate a little bit more. But typically, if a cat is growling, hissing, snorting, making any kind of vocal gestures towards another cat, hissing especially because they're baring teeth and it's more of a visual point that they're making. But most of the times it's for distance keeping and for regulating something that may be happening that isn't really something they want. So cats that have a dynamic where maybe one is a bully or one is uh, hogging resources, people, litter box areas, food areas, tensions that are ongoing in your home day after day after day are going to put a cat at a threshold level that's very, very low. So if they're coming to the plate with a low threshold and then this cat comes up to them and sits next to them even, or smells their butt, or goes over to groom them or does anything, that's going to make a cat hiss. So usually it's because thresholds have been reached. They don't want the approach or the attention of another cat. They don't want to share space, or they're fearful or competitive about something. So to have to know the context of why and when they hiss, and does it become a fight? Is it a once-off hiss and then the cats kind of go their own way?
It's really a complicated question. Like,
Yeah,
did
yeah.
it just start?
Yeah, there really. I mean, you
I knew
can't just ask one cat behavior question. There's usually a lot of digging, no pun intended, to find the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with litter box problems, like we were just talking about, like I've got to do everything from the style of a box to the depth of a litter, the type of litter, the way it smells, the way it feels, where it's located. There's a lot of different things that you have to uncover to find solutions.
Well, Kate, if you have any follow-up comments, let us know. If they are new friends and all the other things
Yeah,
Daniel
yeah.
just asked.
She
All
said
right.
they started hissing, which indicates that maybe they weren't hissing
They
before.
weren't, yeah, like it's a new thing.
Yeah.
Did one of them have surgery and get their canines
Yeah.
pulled out like mine, and then the other cat didn't
Right.
recognize them and made my life hell for 6 weeks?
Yeah, we call that non-recognition aggression. Two cats that suddenly don't recognize each other, uh, and then they start to hiss and growl. So she's saying that two are bullies. How many do you have total? Two are bullies. But there you go. There's your underlying reason, is that you have cats that are push harder to control, and others that are feeling that control and pushing back.
What do you do
And
in that case? I mean, like, if you have, this is going to be another one of those like control the environment kind of thing, give them escape routes. Like, how do you make the ones that are hissing feel better?
yeah, this is where doing a consult in your home really helps, because I can kind of, it sounds corny, but like I do look at the place through the eyes of a cat. Like if I were your cat and I was feeling bullied by others, where would I escape to, and what would that look like? Would I run down a hallway that bottlenecks me into a corner? Would I run under a bed that corners me too? I would want to know what each of those cats, what their individual personalities are like and what their preferences are, and then I would start multiplying those preferences all around the house. So we know that cats have a lot more attention on the ground, and they often fight on the ground, under tables. They don't often fight up above in trees, and cat furniture. So sometimes providing alternatives that are vertical fans out their choices that they make, because inadvertently the choices we make in our homes, decor wise, may be pushing these cats into situations that they'd rather avoid. 4 total, Kate says. She's got 4 total cats.
Mm-hmm.
So, you've got a small colony, a clouder of cats happening in your house, and each of them is going to determine, their stake in the game. They have got a lot to share. So think about what I just said and trying to, fan out their resources. If they're all eating in one area, maybe put different feeding areas in different places so they don't have to converge. They don't feel comfortable with each other. And try your best. If you know for sure every day there's going to be a circumstance where cats are being bullied, be preemptive. Start new routines that take bullies and channel their energies into play or something more cathartic, so that they're not focusing on these cats that are less confident than they are.
All right,
Capiche?
cool. Anything else you wanted to add to that?
And furthermore,
And all right. Well, we have another question. Thank you, Kate, for your question. Crispy salad. Here's a good one. Is there an easy way to train cats to pee and poop on the human toilet?
I'm going to answer that with saying, please don't at all. Don't even attempt it. Keep your toilet lid closed and buy a nice big conventional litter box that your cat is instinctually predisposed to use. Because toilet training is a trick. You're tricking your cat to poop in a hole and not cover that. Just boom, goes down to the void, and we never have to, scratch it or cover it or anything. It's just not. It's not a natural thing to do. I don't recommend it. My clients that are doing it, if it's working, great. If it's not working, let's go back to regular litter boxes. So, sorry if that was not the answer you were looking for.
I've tried it. I bought one of those fancy toilet lid things, and my cats were just kind of irritated with it. And then they started pooping in like the litter bucket. Like I caught the cat once on the side of the litter bucket, pooping directly into the fresh litter. I think they pooped in the tub because they got mad. I heard another story about a lady who tried to do that, and her cats got so mad at her that they just went off the litter box and the toilet altogether. And she was like in tears because she was like, I can't stop them from just going anywhere now.
Well, I mean, you got to ask this question. There's one question: Is it necessary? Why? Why would you do that? It's for you. It's for you, right? It's because the cat's going to poop in the toilet. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to scoop. You don't have to have a box in your house. So think about why you need it and do the opposite.
Well, Crispy Salad said they don't even have a cat.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, I appreciate the question. Thanks for pushing my buttons, Crispy. But I think, I am not the only one who feels this way. I think toilet training is not something every cat is. I mean, think of a cat when they're 14. Are they going to climb up on a slick toilet bowl seat and balance and trying to poop in that thing? At some point, that's not going to work out for them. But there are a few cats that I have seen as clients that were great at it, and they started doing it on their own. So they just sort of finessed it so that they would go in the toilet. Great. Bengals, cats that are like hybrids, a lot of times they pee and poop in sinks and sinks and bathtubs because of the water in the tub. And there are some breed specific qualities. I don't know how to say this right. Basically, hybrid cats are predisposed to kind of pee in open water. It goes back to their lineage. So that happens a lot of times in the house. So for cats that do that, yeah, why not? Go ahead and train them how to pee in a toilet. But come on, guys. Come on.
I like to take baths. I can imagine that would be a very unfortunate bath time.
Yeah.
Just relaxing and a large cat comes.
Can you imagine there's always a time where you're like, oh my God, and it's like a 4-alarm fire and you got to run to your toilet and there's your cat sitting on it. Like, I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to wait.
Nope. Poor cat. My oldest cat, the one who passed away in February, he was 20. And before I realized he was having issues with arthritis, he was letting me know that he didn't want to use a litter box by peeing on my toilet. Not in the toilet, actually on the toilet. He would climb up on the toilet. I don't know how. I would never see him do it, and he would just pee all over it.
Yeah. It could be a cognitive choice that wasn't really logical, or a desperate move. Some cats are going to pee on countertops or toilets or places up off the ground because they're desperate for a place to go.
And Gail added a comment. Here's an interesting one. You're contaminating the sanitary system. The local zoo doesn't encourage flushable litter because of the contamination, which I've never heard that before. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's true. Most septic systems are bad for cat poop and litter too, whatever's attached to it. But there's all kinds of diseases and bacteria in cat poop. Then if you live here in San Francisco, where I do, it's going to go right into the ocean. And then some cute little seal is going to eat that poop and get toxoplasmosis and die.
Not all cats have toxoplasmosis. I mean, like, it's safe for us to scoop, I guess, but once it gets into the
studies, I guess there have been studies about what it does to water systems, but I'm not a flusher of poop, cat poop. I know there are litters that are flushable. Quote, they say they are. Um, but I don't know if I would want a chance pouring some muddy substance down my toilet right now.
I just put it in a bag and take it to the trash.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I mean, throw it in a compostable bag and toss it, but don't put it in your toilet.
All right. So let's avoid cats using the actual toilet. Kate did follow up when you were speaking to her earlier that her family started out as a brother and sister Russian blues at 4 months. They added a 4-month-old female tabby and then changed that dynamic where the male fell in love with the tabby and sister became the outsider hisser. Can that happen? Can they be in love with each other? I guess they can have favorites, right?
Wait a minute. I got to reread this. Started brother, sister. Added a 4-month-old female tabby. 18 months changing dynamic where male fell in love with tabby and sister became outside. Yeah, I mean, I think just because cats are siblings doesn't necessarily negate that their whole life is going to be, rainbows. Dynamics change all the time, and especially if you add cats, there's going to be a flip and a change. Age, priorities, that kind of thing.
Cat priorities.
Cat priorities. Cat business.
What do you think cat priorities are?
Cat priorities are basically maintain a sense of free will at all times. Maintain a sense of free will at all times. That's what I just said. No, they don't want their choices made for them. They want to be able to not have to compete. I think I use the word selfish. It's probably not a nice word, but cats are self-serving. They mostly do things that benefit for them. They don't exactly respond to negativity in any positive way, like, the things that we do to try to stop them from doing stuff, whether it's vocal, hey, yelling at them or clapping our hands or using any kind of punishment in any kind of way is a futile endeavor. They just don't respond to it. So, the perfect day for a cat is a day where all their needs are met, where they get all the things they want, where there weren't any conflicts, and that nobody's intentions got in the way of them getting what they wanted.
And they poop in a box.
And they poop in a box despite their best interests, because what they'd love to do is poop all around your house in every single corner and cranny, but they can't find the substrate that matches, what they want to poop in. So we cross our fingers, we buy a box, and we put it where we want it to be, and we hope they are litter trained and they use it. But I think we should be counting our blessings that it actually happens at all.
Now I want to set up my house in a gladiator pit with sand. See what happens. That'd be kind of cool, right? But I wouldn't want to walk barefoot.
Turn your house into Beyond Thunderdome. 2 may enter, 1 may leave.
Yeah. We got another question. This one, I think this one's for me. Do you ever think you'll make a catastrophe when coronavirus is over? Crispy Salad, I think you're talking to me. That's my web series. We're not making catastrophes videos. The director decided he did not want to pursue those anymore. So I started a new project, which you can find elsewhere. I don't really want to advertise it while I'm at work. But there is a new project and there is a new video and there's another new video coming out next week. And if you want to follow over there, Chris working with me and Daniel might even pop up in one. And there's cats and the Perminator and all sorts of good stuff. So,
there's a cat in my fridge right now.
Yeah. It's called Cat in the Fridge Films. So if you look at Cat in the Fridge Films, Crispy Salad, you'll find me there. There will be more videos, and we're doing them right now. So thanks for asking. I appreciate it. So we have a couple other. Let's see, what do we got here? I had a list of some other questions that I wanted to do. Car anxiety. Let's say we wanted to take a cat in a car. How would you cope with cats who
Hmm.
have car anxiety?
Car anxiety. I have car anxiety. Um,
You don't have a car though, right?
no, I rent my car. Used to rent cars by the hour. You know, zip cars, what they call them. But no, cats and cars. So yeah, I think a lot of folks deal with that because they don't. It's not something you're doing all the time. You only go in when you go to the vet, usually, right? So there becomes there's a pretty hard stigma attached to that trip once you get one done, and then you've got to do it again and again and again and again. Not to mention the cat who's never left your house, and then 10 years into their lifespan, you're like, I should probably get them to the vet after they've been living in captivity all this time. So I think what's important to understand is that the picture your cat sees, the whole sequence of events that a lot of times happens when we are going on a car trip. One thing I would advise you to do is, if your cat is the type who freaks out going into a cat carrier, um, we don't want this to be an eventful uh, situation where we have to push them into a carrier where they resist it and they run out, and then we've got to try it again and again and again. With cats, there's always a clock that's ticking to the point where they're like, nope, no way, not gonna do this at all. And then so with cat carriers, I find that there's an association made with them, because it only comes out when you go to the vet. So first thing I'm going to say is leave your cat carrier in your environment, part of your environment, or buy a cat carrier that balances both transport and bedding at the same time. There's like sleepy pod carriers, things like that, that have a dome on top. There's a bed, you zip the top on, off they go. They're leaving in something that smells like them, comforts them, and a place that they don't suspect. Whereas most cat carriers are barren, cold plastic things that maybe we throw a towel in to make them feel better. But what you have is a cat traveling with severe reactivity to uncertainty, air pressure changes, smells, visual sights. So one thing I would say, when if we get them used to being in a carrier and we can get them from out the house into the car, your temptation is going to be to pop open that cat carrier door, slide your arm in there, and let them, oh, I'm here with you. Everything's going to be okay. But it usually doesn't stop it. It usually keeps them crying, and they don't really see anything but their stress. So the work done on the cat carrier is number one. Number two, invest in a bottle of that fell away spray or some wipes and start wiping the inside of the carrier so it doesn't have that daunting smell going to the vet and coming back from the vet. And perhaps take your cat on short car trips. Take them for 5-10 minute trip around, and then come back and let them out and give them treats and positive reinforcement. It's an experience that they need practice having, and they need to know that it's going to be some sort of benefit for them to do it. Because if we just pop them in the carrier, bring them to the vet, then now they're popped out in a brand new place. It's sterile. It smells different. Someone strange is touching them and feeling them. So try, small little intervals, and build up your cat's tolerance. But the caveat here is that there may be a cat or 100 of them out there that are never ever going to like it, no matter how hard you try to make it better for them.
I do like the sleepy pods. They've donated some pods to Treehouse before, when we did the Winter Wonder Love, and we got to deliver some kittens in those. I have a couple here. They sleep in them.
Yeah, they're nice.
And then when they're in them, I just zip the top closed and off we go to the vet. And there was no big, hey, get in the
Yeah.
carrier.
I mean, also, if you have a cat who's like adventurous enough to get a harness on them and to walk around outside, and you can get them, like getting them in the car and working on being in the car and then taking them to another location. These are the things that make cats tolerant of new situations. If you walk around the city here in San Francisco, you're going to run into some homeless person who's got a cat living on their back, walking around the city with this cat on their back, and the cats are fine. They're like, this is what I do every day. I mean, it may not be an ideal situation, but it's a testament to their acclimation to a not so perfect situation that every day they're out there in the public, right? So does I mean your cat can do it? Maybe not, but it's basically exposure. So if you're adopting a kitten, work from day one on that exposure and that positive reinforcement, so that that little moldable piece of clay that we call a kitten becomes an adult with no fear.
So they're like people, really. You get all different kinds of personalities, and you just have to figure out what they like and what they'll work with. And
Yeah, I mean, you may also have to have a conversation with your veterinarian about what they can do to help you ease some of your cat's stress.
all right, very good. Thank you, Daniel. We have another question from Kate. So she said, "What is the best harness to use for cats that they can't Houdini their way out of?" That is a good question because the first time I ever tried walking my cat, walking my cat, uh, he got scared and he slipped right out of it. And luckily, we were still in the building, but I mean, he just took off
Yeah,
through it.
yeah. I am a big fan of the harnesses that look like clothing, that they actually, wrap the whole belly of your cat, and that they're latched from the back. Because I find the ones that are like bungee cord or leash material. Are you going to get your harness?
Yeah, I think I have a
Was
vision
it something I said?
for
Um, I think the ones that are leashy and bungee like are easy for them to kind of pull their legs out. And oh, that's cool. Is that the one you're using?
Yeah. Well, I have this in two sizes. So I use this in the house when Pinkle is dressed up as the Perminator because
Yeah,
it has a skull on it.
that's
But I
right.
also have a larger one of the same kind, and I've been using it to take Mr. Pants outside. And
Okay.
I think it works pretty well. It's got Velcro on the belly
Yeah,
and then Velcro
yeah,
in the
that's
front.
good.
So once I
Yeah,
take this off, he can slip right out of it. But when the two are on, it seems to be pretty secure.
you just want them to at least feel like they have full range of movement, that they can move their legs around like this. Because once they feel tethered and obstructed, is when they fall on their side, and then they refuse to move. So you've got one that works like a collar and also works like a harness at the same time, and it gives more support. And you want to like not restrain your cat. What am I doing? You don't want to pull too hard, right? So that they're being tethered, and then that resistance creates stress too. So let them wear like clothes. Let them receive treats before, during, and after wearing it, and then harness them in the house with a leash. Start working on slack leash walking in your home, and then introduce them little by little to the outdoors. My cat Cubby is a short-legged cat, so his legs are like 3 inches long. They are 4 inches long. He's just gonna pull right out of that. So I can't exactly harness him, but I could carry him in my arm pretty much everywhere I go. That's kind of the cat he is.
Is it because of the like his legs are short, like he could just flip them through? Is that why?
Well, if I were to do an impression of his legs, they're like T-Rex legs. So really, all he's got to do is go like this with his paws, like flatten them, and he can wiggle right out of something.
Mm.
So it's like having a porpoise or a circus seal living in my home.
Do porpoises have legs?
Well, no, like I just imagine like when they're like rolling their back and they're like cracking a shell on their stomach, like that's kind of how he is with these little legs, like he's trying to.
We don't have a lot of porpoises to look at in Chicago, so
Okay, well, I'm on the coast.
I have a dog making an appearance.
Hello, hi friend.
She's looking at me. I think she might want to go outside. She's just gonna have to wait. So Kate, that was a good question. Thank you.
Yeah, good.
And then we already talked about the how to get the cats outside and slowly treats. I think that covered it. All right. Thanks, Daniel. So here's from our list of questions we've got. Why does my cat randomly bite me in attack mode?
Is it random? Is it really random? When yeah, whenever presented with this question, I'm going to ask like, well, what preceded that? Because random to me sounds like you're just sitting there minding your own business, doing your taxes, and your cat comes over and bites you without provocation. Um, and that very well may be the case where you're just sitting there and your cat comes over, but that can be an instigation of activity. This cat is looking for you to get up, move, play, whatever. Even your angry reactions to being bitten are rewarding to some cats that have a deficit of activity in their home. So when you say attack mode, to me, like I interpret that as it can be two things. Attack mode typically is play drive. A cat who's feeling playful but is really bad at form, like bad at uh, negotiating that with you, and just goes straight for the gold and bites you, right? Or it's a cat that is attacking you with malicious intent, either fearful of you, uh, territorially, and that's more rare than a cat who's trying to provoke some kind of cathartic play out of a 24-hour day that really maybe had about 5, 10, 15 minutes of it. So bites aren't random. Bites come from a place. They come from a place of frustration, a place of deficit. There's not enough release for them, so they're redirecting energy to something else, and they come from boredom. What's going on in your 24-hour day where you're randomly being bitten?
My day?
No, not you. Whoever
Oh yeah,
has
'cause I don't. Nobody bites me.
Good.
Well,
You're
maybe
doing the right things. I mean, I'm about, when I hang up with you, I'm going to do a consult with somebody who's fostering a cat who is conflicted. Conflicted meaning he solicits attention. He comes over, he rubs on you, and he's friendly, but then he, on a dime, switches to biting you and hissing and annoying. So with that situation, it's really about like managing your own expectations and trying to allow the cat to own that moment by introducing themselves, rubbing, get what they want done out of it without your interference, your petting, your touching. Um, so play aggression, petting aggression, a lot of times are because we either aren't doing enough or we're doing too much. Bounces back to us all the time.
so it's something we're doing.
Could be. I'm taking a guess at that very broad question, but
One of my cats bit my knuckle this morning. I was asleep. I just put my hand out and like, ow.
yeah.
Good times, cat. Thanks for that. All right, so good. Random attack mode. I don't know if our cats are around. Kate was asking if we can show our cats. All of my cats are in unreachable places right now. Is Cubby there?
No, he left. He left the building. He's in the east wing.
Mine's in a nook up in there, which I can't get her out of, about 8 feet up in the air. And Louie is probably 8 feet up in the air as well, hiding in a pod. And I think Mr. Pants is in his tree, and Mrs. Peabody is in a pod. So I cannot pull any of them out of where they are presently. But if they walk on by, I'm happy to show.
I can show you a painting of Cubby.
We have a painting of Cubby. Is it the one on your? Yep, there it is.
There he is. That's him. That's my window. Anyway. Hi.
Did we do that to your curtain?
Oh yeah, you see the hole in the curtain? Yeah, he does that. I'm gonna flip that around just to show you how embarrassing. Can you see that hole right there, and all these holes and all these?
All the holes.
That's all bite marks. It's because when the sun hits the window in the morning, and this is Cubby's bed right here, right where this little bag of treats is. But he sits in this bed, and if he wants the window open, he starts to pull at it and hold it and pull and tear and chew, and he can't open it. So I have to come over and open it for him. But I'm not going to get a new curtain. Why would I get a new curtain?
Because he's just going to do it again.
Yeah.
He solved his own problem. He made enough holes in there where I think that curtain is pretty invalid at this
point. I know. And that same situation would be reinterpreted by one of my clients as he knows it annoys me when he bites the curtain. And I'm like, he's not doing it for you.
He's doing it for him.
Yeah.
It's all for him. Well, if other people who are watching have questions, go ahead and post them and we will answer those for you. Otherwise, we do have some other questions that came in earlier. Let me see what we have here. My cat has been peeing on my couch lately, usually the same spot. What can I do to stop it?
Yeah. So many questions I have. Same spot on the couch over and over and over. Is your litter box nearby? Are there litter boxes? Are there options in the same room as the couch? Does the couch have any significance to this cat? Are there other animals that share the couch? Are you the only one sitting on the couch? What is the material of the couch? Is your litter box clean? Is the litter too high and he's peeing in a shallow place? Is he peeing standing up, sitting down? Is he having a fully voided bladder every time, or is it just a little spot? I can go on and on and on. There's so many questions to ask about, but when it's the same spot every day, I'll go there. That tells me there's significance to the spot. He's not finding other places. He's not working his way around the room. He is not peeing on a carpet and then peeing in different areas of the carpet to find new places that aren't already soiled. A couch is a spot that is up off the ground, which for a cat with insecurity may be a place that provides actual vantage points and some security. The type of couch you have might be a material that is really absorbent and easy to pee on. There are a lot of factors.
What is the difference if he's voiding his full bladder versus just a spot?
Well, a fully voided bladder means that despite the litter boxes that you have provided, he held the entire bladder worth of pee to pee somewhere else. If he was little spots, that to me feels a little bit more medical. Like he's trying to pee, and it's not coming out as much. If he's sitting versus standing, sitting and voiding your bladder is like using a litter box. Standing, peeing, hitting the back of the couch and having it drip down into the cushions is your cat spraying on the couch, which is not about peeing or using a litter box at all. That's about marking territory.
So in that case, veterinarian, right? That checkup.
Well, yeah, anytime you've got accidents happening outside the box, you've
That's
got
all.
to rule out any physical discomfort first, because a couch is a soft place. You could have, I'm throwing guesses, but litter could feel uncomfortable to squat in. The litter could be too deep, so your cat finds a place that's shallow and firm and absorbent. A litter box could be in a compromised area where they don't feel comfortable going to it, so they find a place that's up off the ground in a place that has social significance to them and you. A couch is a place we all sit. So sometimes places that are inhabited by us have a higher value to your cat because there's that group scent you all share. Same reason a cat might pee on your bed, your side of the bed, your pillow. It's not like, screw you, I'm peeing on your stuff. It's like, I actually revere you highly and I'm peeing in a place that makes me feel secure.
Yeah, we talked about that last week when I was asking about my cat. Like, why does she like to sit in my lap when I'm eating, even if I'm not giving her any food? And you had mentioned kind of the same thing. Like, they like to be part of things. I thought about that the other day when I was eating something. I think I was having like vegan spaghetti and meatballs. Nothing in it she could have or would want. She was sitting on the windowsill. She put her paw on me, and I said yes, and then she just rubbed noses with me. She didn't take any of the food or anything, and I was like, oh yeah, she just wants to be here. Like she just wants
yeah, valuable moment, high value moment. Yeah, so it's hard to convince somebody that their cat pees on their stuff out of reverence for their relationship. But sometimes it is the case. For folks who go on long vacation, come home, and nothing happened, and then the minute they come home, their cat runs to the bed and pees on their bed. That's a cat who's aroused and is, excited by your return and is owning the moment, peeing in the place that smells most like everybody.
I mean, they can't like pop a bottle of champagne, right? So I guess that's the best Next. Woo! Good comment, Alana. All right. So we have another one here. This is from, it says Danielle, and it says, hi, it's Molly. They're actually at Treehouse. Hi, guys. Um, Molly said, my 1-year-old cat, Brexit, bites my calves while I'm getting everyone's food ready. Is there a good way to get him to stop or distract him from doing this? I dish out the food as fast as I can, but it's not fast enough. It sounds like an exciting moment.
Tense. It's like she's feeding sharks. So this is when she's feeding all the cats. So there's anticipation, right? It's not when she's feeding the family or human beings. This is when she's getting food out for everybody.
I assume so. Everyone's food ready. Yeah, probably.
Okay. So what I would do is the calf biting cat would get fed first in a room away from all the other cats in a food puzzle toy that takes a long ass time with a door closed so the other cats can eat. And it would take hopefully some of the anticipation away from him competing with all those other cats to eat at the same time.
Simple enough. So one of my cats does that, but she doesn't bite me. She hits all the other cats. And so sometimes I separate her. Do you recommend that I feed her first as opposed to separating her and then waiting? So she gets annoyed with. I'm sorry. The question, the question is, like, when you say feed the cat first with a food puzzle, is there a benefit to feeding that cat first when they're away, as opposed to putting them away, feeding everybody, and then going back to feed them? Like, does that give them like FOMO and they freak out when they're not getting fed and they're away?
That's hard to say. I don't know. I'd have to see it go down, but I think.
I don't mean to ask for me specifically. I mean, just like in this situation when you said put them away and feed them first, as opposed to put them away and then feed them. I'm just wondering if there's a difference.
I think feeding them first just takes away some of the, like, you're just putting this cat who wants to be in pole position in a spot where, like, he doesn't have to look. I don't know. It's hard to.
Well, yeah, that's
hard to rationalize.
I mean, it's maybe it just makes it. I mean, it probably just takes off some of the anxiety when you put them in a different place and give them their food, as opposed to putting them in a different place, making them hear everybody else eating.
Oh, okay. I hear what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, maybe you lead him to a spot, manage him in that room, bring the food to him there, not have them present while you're preparing food. Because I will tell you, like, that happens here in my own house. We have a dog. It's not my dog. It's my housemate's dog. And she feeds him homemade raw food, and it takes a long, long time to prepare that food. Like, it's like sometimes days or hours in increments that she's doing to make these little batches of food. And he's present. He sits there while she makes it, and he cries and howls and air snaps like he's hungry. And, you know, if he's not in the room when that's happening, he won't have that spark of arousal and interest, right? So if he were my dog, I would have had him in another room doing something else that is also rewarding while I did that, right? So if it's your cats, you just don't want them present while all this kerfuffle is going on, because that's building anticipation. And so if you can bring him out, close the door, bring it to him, that's always going to be easier.
Got it. And she followed up and said there are 4 cats that she's feeding.
Yeah. That's going to be complex. I think, our instincts are to have our cats converge in one area and eat all together, because eating is a positive moment, right? It's supposed to bring them together under amity and the guise of positive reinforcement. But if you've got one cat who's a bully, or in this case bullying you, then you've got to spread it out.
Spread out the food, like peanut butter.
Well, honestly, if it's wet food we're talking about, buy yourself a licky mat.
So, like, where you just smear the food on?
Yeah, you smear it on it's a textured mat, and he can't just gobble it down and eat it real fast. He's got to lick through all the nooks and crannies. And instead of a 5-minute meal, it's 30 minutes.
It does take a long time.
So he might be in that room alone eating it, but he's not thinking of anything else but getting those licking through that little puzzle. So, we're just trying to redirect their wayward thinking into a place that's both rewarding and challenging.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for the question, Molly. I'm looking through another list here of some questions we got in earlier. Why does my cat dash from one room to the next and then dead stop like nothing?
She's got some energy to expend somewhere in there. I mean, if the question is why they stop abruptly, I mean, I'm not sure. It's over. Whatever was happening is over. Momentary blip in energy. But I mean, the cat dash thing is pretty normal, and the zoomies are pretty normal. That's just a consequence of cats being trapped in a box with us all day long, looking for ways to release the energy that we often don't meet. They're not going to do it on their own, so they run, 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 run.
Do you feel like they do that outside, like the outdoor cats? Do they also?
I have never seen it personally.
We've seen our treehouse cats playing in the parking lot. The outdoor cats.
Yeah.
They run around with each other, but I guess that's different than all of a sudden just dashing and quitting.
Yeah. I mean, Cubby, my cat here, like he gets zoomies, but he gets hyperesthesia zoomies. He gets zoomies from defecating and peeing, and then his lower part of his body feels a little bit uncomfortable, and it causes him to run and vocalize. When it's over, it's over. But it depends on when it happens. If it's in the evening time, I guess it's just your cat expending energy, and then he's done.
Can you explain this hyperesthesia? How do you spell that?
Oh yeah. Oh God, I actually have to write it down. Hyper hyper ESTESIA, I think. Hyperesthesia.
I could probably just Google it. I am on.
Yeah. You might find it easily by looking up feline FHS, feline hyperesthesia syndrome, rolling skin syndrome. Another one. To explain what hyperesthesia is, it's basically it's physical and neurological. So if you have a cat who has a really sensitive back or tail area, when you pet them, a lot of times they'll be twitching or dipping. They don't want to be touched, right? Or if they are in an aroused mood, you'll see their back twitch. If they get a flea bite, you'll see their back twitch. And it's like a nerve endings kind of making it jump a little bit. So when my cat is in the litter box, he puts himself in a kinked position like this, and that back just starts to inflame. You can see his tail kind of flick, 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 flick. His eyes will dilate, his ears will go forward to the back, and he will come out of that litter box, stop, look around like this, as if he hears voices, and then boom, he's off like a shot, and he will run as far as he can go, gallops through our hallway. If my door is closed, he's going to run to this cat tree and spiral up the cat tree at lightning speed to the top. Scares the shit out of me every night when he does that, because I'm afraid he's going to fall. But somehow he manages. But it's him trying to physically escape that sensation. That's how I interpret it. He's running from the pain, or at least maybe the energy expending calms it down a little bit. Sometimes if I kind of comfort him and hold him, it will stop. But what I have done in time to relieve some of his symptoms, one, the food work I do in the evening keeps him focused and a little bit less likely to do things that are self-soothing, like he'll paddle on doors and stuff like that too. It's all part of this thing that he's this sensation. But my vet did prescribe some medication that takes some of the edge off, and I also use supplements that I don't think I'm allowed to mention that help as well.
Does he doesn't get this every time he goes to the bathroom, does he?
I would say 3 out of 5 times.
So it's frequently.
Yeah, it used to last for hours. It would just go on and on and on and on. And it's horrible to watch because the vocalizing really does sound like a cat suffering. It really does sound like he's in pain. And it's trance like, when I talk about him looking up and around, like he can't hear or see you, and that is happening. So, cats with hyperesthesia have been known to be aggressive in their response. Uh, there have been cases where people have been like pinned in a bathroom with a cat with hyperesthesia because they're just so irate. And one case I remember really, really fond, not just really vividly, is a cat who was blind who had hyperesthesia. So imagine you can't see and you think something is attacking your body because physically you're having these sensations. So here's this blind cat who is walking 3 steps and then swatting, 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 spinning around trying to clean their own tail and then thinking they're being attacked, always in danger. So that's a cat that we immediately made a vet appointment for, and the vet put the cat on medication, and it resolved. But it takes some trial and error. It does take management, and the vet is the first stop that you should make with an issue like that.
Is that something that develops, or is that something they're born with? I mean, I don't want to get too into the medical part because I know you're not a doctor, but
Yeah. Well, my understanding is that there are some breeds of cats that are predisposed to this condition, and Siamese cats are in that family of cats. Oriental breeds, Burmese, Himalayans, Siamese. These are the cats that I'm used to seeing it in, but I've seen it in other. I've seen orange tabbies with it, so it's not really age specific. I got Cubby when he was 3, and he's now 11, and it's been happening since day one.
and so do you think that was part of the reason he might have been relinquished, maybe?
I have often thought who would surrender a beautiful Siamese Munchkin cat to a, a city pound, but like a week into our adoption, I was like, oh, he's neurotic. That's why. I used to have him on Prozac. One of my vets prescribed him Prozac,
Mhm.
which made him an absolute doll, but it didn't stop anything physical from occurring.
Mm.
So we switched, and now the vets recommended gabapentin, and that's what he takes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. I was just thinking about all these things because I have a cat that's also on Prozac for behavior anxiety issues, which helps a
Yeah.
lot. Um,
Yeah. He's on supplement also, which begins with a C and ends with a D.
I wonder what that could be.
Three-letter word.
um, all right, we've got, let's see, we have probably time for one more question. So if we don't have any from any viewers, I'm going to take one that came in earlier. Um, why does my cat only meow to me when I look at him and he runs meowing?
Meow.
That makes sense? Like, why does my cat meow at me?
Your cat meows at you because you're what they set their clock to every day, and then they're just trying to get something from you. I don't know. Can we have a new question? Why does my cat meow at me? Cats meow at people. They don't meow usually to each other. It's just a way of getting what they want.
I've heard that cats don't meow at each other, right? So, but I've seen one of my cats vocalizes at the other cat, but I
It's
guess
vocalizing.
meow
It's
is
not, but it's not the appeasing sort of pleading way that we get it from our cats.
Mhm.
There are chirps and things that they respond to, but these ways that there's I speak from experience. I have a Siamese, so there's a dialect that I have come to learn, and the dialect means that he adjusts his tone to suit what he's either trying to get from me, how he feels. I have a cat who barks, who growls, who chuffs, who goes when he's miffed. He makes a song. He makes a noise like a miffed cat, like.
Is that what you
He's
call
just
cupping?
yeah, sure. So but when I look like what is it? How do you translate the dialect? There's only one word it translates to. Want. I want. Want. Gimme, gimme, gimme.
They want something.
Yeah.
But it's up to you to figure out what it is.
You got to figure it out. And a lot of us talk back, and then we have like these cats that we converse with, and then they look for me to stop the conversations.
But so people don't. Do you find that people don't want their cats talking to them?
They want talkative cats when they want talkative cats, not when cats want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like you're standing in your kitchen and you're making your own dinner, and your cat's standing there meowing, and it's going on. We often are like, God, shut up, leave, give me a break. We often respond harshly. Or when we're trying to sleep and they're meowing to get us to wake up or whatever it is. So you can't have it your way all the time. You got a cat, you got to have it their way.
Live in the meow? What's the thing you always say? Live in the meow, right?
Well, yeah, I always say live in the meow, but I always say surrender yourself, not your cat.
Surrender yourself, not your cat. There you go. I like that one. All right. Well, if you wanted a different question, I have one more then. Why does my cat scratch the wall when he eats, and how do I stop it?
Oh, he scratches the wall because he's trying to cover his resources from anything that might be competitive with him for those resources. So you'll see it a lot of times. Your food's sitting there, it's either been eaten or there's a little bit left, and they come over and they kind of feign the scratch. It's just their instincts, their impulse telling them, I was never here, and whoever wants my food is not going to get it.
Is that after that, like when they're done eating?
Sometimes.
They just want to save the rest for later?
Yeah, they're just trying to like cover their tracks, literally cover their tracks. I've seen Cubby come over here and start paddling at his food toys, which are next to where his raw food is. And it's just him kind of going through the motions. He does it on his water bowl. He tries to cover the water bowl. They're living in a house, man. What do you want them to do? They're trying to go through the motions of being cats.
They're making do with what they've got.
That's right.
Which is what we give them, which makes it our responsibility to give them what they need.
Yeah, you've got to bend and start finessing around their preferences. Yay! Living with cats.
You're happy everyone lives with cats. That's what if people didn't live with cats, what would you do?
I don't know. It keeps me in black licorice, I'll tell you that.
You do, yeah, you mentioned you like licorice before.
I have gratitude for catitude. That's for sure.
Well, we appreciate having you here again and answering questions for our supporters and followers online. Do you have anything that you would like to close with?
Yes. You can find me at gocatgosf.com and at gocatgosf on all social media platforms. If you are interested in talking to me one-on-one, we can do it the same way I'm doing with Alana today. We can, Alana. Sorry.
Daniel.
West Coast. The same way we're talking, you can talk to me. And I do it via Zoom, Skype, any way you can video chat, I can do it with you. And doesn't matter where you live.
It really doesn't.
Multinational.
You are everywhere. You are omnipresent.
Right on, right on.
Well, thank you so much for that. For anybody else who's watching, if you don't have a cat, you know where to get one. We have them. We don't have them at the shelter right now, but they are in foster homes and they are available for adoption. You can check them out at treehouseanimals.org. They're all in the Shelter Skippers program right now because they are adoptable right out of their foster homes. We are doing virtual meetings, so if you want one and you find one that you think is amazing, let us know. They're all looking for jobs. #hire a coworker. If you also have a Treehouse cat and you have any questions about that cat, we're always happy to work with you and let us know. info@treehouseanimals.org, or you can call us at 773-262-4000. And I think that's our time for today. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you for everyone for being here. Let us know if you have any questions, and see you guys next time.
Ciao, meow.
Ciao, meow.